that everyone was finished and there were no leftovers when we visited her. Simply tell your wife that you do not perceive food in the same manner. Food provides sustenance, and overeating is a dangerous habit. Excess weight at your age causes health concerns, and if she cares about you, she would not want that. Just keep repeating it while telling her that you still love her, even if you want to eat less of what she prepares. Now to the next story, story 2. My parents threatened to skip my wedding if I didn't invite my sister, who slept with my boyfriend. What happened next shocked everyone. I, 28F, never expected to be in this predicament, yet here I am. My sister Lizzie, 26F, and I used to be quite close growing up. We shared a room in our little suburban home, whispering secrets late into the night and daydreaming about our future. Lizzie was always the more outgoing one, with a talent for art and music, whereas I was the studious kind, constantly buried in a book. Despite our disputes, we remained linked. Our parents, John, 55M, and Mary, 53F, raised us to prioritize family above all else. Dad worked long hours as a construction foreman to support us, while Mom worked part-time and ran the family. They instilled in us a strong sense of loyalty and taught us the value of sticking together through thick and thin. Little did I know how much my familial loyalty would be tested in the coming years. I met Jake, 30M, in my sophomore year of college. He was a senior, personable and popular, with a love of books that mirrored mine. We bonded over our mutual love of classic novels, and we spent many hours in quaint coffee shops talking about our favorite authors. Jake was my first serious boyfriend, and I fell hard and quickly. After graduation, Jake opted to stay in town and work at a local publishing business. Our relationship grew stronger, and we soon began discussing our future together. We moved in together after graduation, sharing a small but comfortable apartment near the city center. Jake was always supportive of my marketing career goals and encouraged me to aim high. Meanwhile, Lizzie had decided to pursue her passion for art rather than attend college. She worked several jobs to support herself while attempting to establish a name in the local art community. I admired her tenacity and determination, even though our parents were dismayed by her decision not to pursue more study. Jake and Lizzie hit it off from the start. They shared an interest in indie music and abstract art, frequently engaged in passionate debates about the newest gallery openings or underground bands. I was overjoyed that my boyfriend and sister got along so well, never suspecting that their relationship would develop into something more sinister. 5 years into our partnership, Jake and I were doing well. We'd weathered the storms of early adulthood together, including job changes, financial difficulties, and the death of our beloved childhood dog. We had even begun casually researching engagement rings online, fantasizing about a future wedding and the family we would create together. In contrast, Lizzie's life was more turbulent. She moved from job to job, trying to make ends meet while pursuing her art. There were times when she'd crash on our couch, and Jake and I would assist her financially. I didn't mind, after all, she was my sister, and I wanted to support her goals. Everything changed on a wet Tuesday in April. I had a large presentation at work and discovered I had left some important data on my home laptop. Knowing Lizzie was staying with us that week, I contacted and requested her to send the files to me. She agreed, and I didn't think anything more about it. Hours later, after completing my presentation, I opened my inbox to locate the files from Lizzie, but there was something else, an email thread that Lizzie had mistakenly left open when she gave the files. My heart stopped as I read the letters between her and Jake, which contained intimate information and arrangements for their secret rendezvous. I felt as if the ground had vanished beneath me. I left work early, my thoughts reeling, and confronted Jake in our apartment. He attempted to downplay it at first, claiming it was just a few innocent flirtations, but as I revealed more of what I'd read, his justifications fell apart. Jake finally confessed to a 6-month romance with Lizzie. He claimed that it began innocently, late-night conversations when I was sleeping or working late, a common interest for art that grew into something more. He stated he never wanted to hurt me, that he was confused about his emotions. I couldn't endure hearing it any longer and urged him to leave. Confronting Lizzie was even more challenging. I approached her modest studio apartment, my hands trembling as I knocked on the door. When she opened it, her expression sank. She knew I had found out. Unlike Jake, Lizzie did not attempt to offer explanations. She looked me in the eyes and told me she'd fallen in love with Jake, that they hadn't planned it but couldn't resist their feelings. The following several months were a haze of agony and hatred. I moved out of the apartment I shared with Jake and stayed on a friend's couch until I could locate my own place. I put myself into work, picking up extra assignments to keep my mind occupied. I cut off all contact with Jake and Lizzie, blocking their phone numbers and social media profiles. My parents were devastated by the news. They attempted to mediate at first, encouraging me to hear Lizzie out and contemplate forgiveness, but I couldn't handle the thought of being in the same room with her. The treachery was too new, too deep. They eventually stopped pushing, but I could see the sadness in their eyes every time the subject came up. After nearly a year of treatment and self-reflection, I felt ready to date again. I first met Alex, 32M, at a charity fundraiser at the local animal shelter. He was tall, with nice eyes and a kind grin that put me at ease right away. We bonded over our mutual love of dogs and our volunteer experiences at the shelter. Alex was kind and compassionate as I discussed my past. He never pushed me to go faster than I felt comfortable with, always respecting my limits. Slowly but gradually, I found myself falling in love again, this time with a man who genuinely liked and admired me. 2 years into our relationship, Alex proposed on a morning trek to our favorite viewing point. It was simple, private and beautiful. As we started planning our wedding, I felt a mixture of excitement and dread. The thought of walking down the aisle again triggered memories I'd rather forget. Everything was going fine until my dad mentioned inviting Lizzie to the wedding. They contended that she is still family and should be present on my special day. The very suggestion made my stomach turn. How could I celebrate the most joyful day of my life with someone who had given me so much pain? I adamantly refused, informing my parents that Lizzie's presence would just bring up sad memories and could ruin the day. Alex agreed with me, saying that our wedding should be about our love and happiness, not attempting to patch relationships that may be beyond repair. My parents did not take it well. They accused me of being petty and unwilling to move forward. They even threatened not to go if Lizzie was not invited. Some of our relatives have also gotten involved, accusing me of selfishness for separating the family and asking me to be a better person. But I don't believe I am in the wrong here. Lizzie deceived me in the worst manner possible. She slept with the man I expected to spend my life with. I fought hard to overcome that anguish and start a new life with Alex. I don't want anything to compromise my newfound contentment and calm. Reddit: am I wrong to not invite my sister to my wedding? Am I being petty, or do I have the right to remove someone who has badly injured me from one of the most important events in my life? Update 1. I'd like to thank everyone who left helpful comments and advice on my first article. The response was amazing, and it gave me the confidence to have a difficult but essential conversation with my parents. I invited them over to supper last week, determined to clear the air and establish some boundaries. The evening started out tense. Mom kept trying to shift the talk toward wedding plans, while Dad was unusually silent. After we finished our meal, I took a big breath and went in. I described in detail how Lizzie's actions had affected me, including the sleepless nights, trust issues that nearly ruined my relationship with Alex, and the therapy sessions I need to work through my pain. I told them about the panic attacks I used to get anytime I saw a couple that reminded me of Jake and Lizzie, how I'd lost weight because food tasted bad, and how I'd poured myself into work to avoid dealing with my feelings. To my amazement, Mom burst into tears midway through my explanation. Between sobbing, she acknowledged that they had pushed for Lizzie's inclusion out of remorse. It turned out that Lizzie's life had spiraled drastically after the incident. My parents told me that Lizzie had lost her job at the gallery where she had been working. Her drinking, which had previously been sociable, had progressed to the point that she was rarely sober. She'd been in a run of short-lived, destructive relationships, one of which left her in the hospital with a broken arm. Mom and Dad felt responsible for not seeing Lizzie's problem sooner. They scolded themselves for applauding her free spirit without acknowledging that she may have required more guidance and assistance. In their thoughts, inviting Lizzie to the wedding was a means to reintegrate her into the group and possibly help her get her life back on track. While I sympathized with Lizzie's hardships, I made it clear that this did not excuse her behavior or erase the anguish she caused me. I reminded them of all the instances they had assisted Lizzie financially and emotionally over the years, emphasizing how supportive they had always been as parents. I emphasized that I was not responsible for Lizzie's well-being, and I shouldn't have to give up my peace of mind for her. Dad, who had kept silent for the majority of the conversation, suddenly piped out. He told me a story from his own background that I had never heard before. Apparently, his older brother had done something similar, compromising Dad's trust significantly when they were younger. They had never really reconciled, and I could see sadness in Dad's eyes as he recounted decades of stressful family reunions and squandered possibilities. He stated that he did not want the same for Lizzie and me, which is why he has been pushing for reconciliation, but he also admitted that he couldn't compel forgiveness and that healing had to happen on my own terms. Dad apologized for pressuring me and promised that he and Mom would respect my decision regarding the wedding. He also told me that they would attend, with or without Lizzie. My parents agreed to speak with the relatives who had been causing me problems and explain the issue. They vowed to stop any future attempts to guilt-trip me into inviting Lizzie. After this emotional chat, I felt as if a